Okay, so now almost everything is finished, and what we have left is the glass here. But before I continue with the glass, I will discuss something that happened in the last session. So as you can see right now, this part here is rather shiny, and that part was not shiny the last time I was in the viewport. So I was thinking, okay, so what did I do wrong? And I did the same mistake that I discussed in the beginning that you shouldn't do. So I can explain by just go to the modifier here and say that in the last session the levels viewport was 1 here, and you can instantly see the difference. So with 1 you get this result, no reflection, a lot of holes in this one, and with 2 you get a completely different result here with a lot of reflection, no holes and so on. And that is, as I said before, use high poly when you do the material. Then you can bake the material, create a texture out of it, and you can then get back to a lower amount of polygons and render it and get a really nice result out. But when you have this work in process and do all this stuff here, then you should always work with as high poly as polygon as possible to be able to get a really nice touch in the end here. So that was the mistake that I did. But when you're finished with the material and you go to next material, then of course you can take down this again so that you don't push your computer all the time. So if you're finished with the material like that one, then go back as I did here and then just continue with the next one. Okay, so that was my mistake, so to say, and why I turned the reflection on and nothing happened. But now you know why. So let's go to the glass now. So I select that one and we directly change this up to 3 here. So I will have the correct thing here when I start to work. And the glass we did in the earlier session, so we can almost take it away. We can keep the dust here, but the rest here we can just scrap. So I just do like this, press delete, and I take away that one. And the only thing we have left is the dust here. And now we can start by creating the mask for the glass here. And I think that it will be like soft things that go up because the flame has then burned the glass a little around here. I tried to find reference images, and I found a lot of reference images. The problem is with this lantern glass that they are totally different. We have different colors on them. We have different worn. Some are like almost black, and some are like just light brown, and they have different patterns and so on. So I couldn't find anything directly common. So I will work mostly with my imagination in this case, and then you can of course create your own pattern if you want to, but this will be how I do the glass. So I was thinking that I'd start with something rather soft, so it will then be the musgrave texture that I put in. So I press Shift A, go to texture, and I use a musgrave texture. And then we need an input here, so I press Shift A, input, and a texture coordinate. And I will use the generated, because generated will then distort the texture so it follows the object's shape in a better way. And that will work fine for this. So I used generated instead of object here. Then I just can connect that in here, and you can see I get all these white and black here. Now I think it's like small particles that are on this one. So instead of having this very nice looking line here, I would like it to be a lot of small particles, and that I can create using a noise and mixing that with the musgrave here. So I will put in a noise as well. So I press Shift A, texture, and a noise texture. and that can also use the generated here. So I put that into this one, and then I need to mix those two together. So I can use color mix, pressing Shift A, converter, and here we have known color, and here we have the mix RGB, and then I can put that in, and I can put that in from the factor here. So we mix those together. So if I put it to 1 here, it's only the Musgrave, and if I put it to 0, it's only the noise here. Now I will do a few things. I will change the parameters here, but I will also change this type here to linear light, because linear light will be really good in this session, and I will explain very soon why. But first of all, I said I would like to have really small particles. That means that I would like to have a high scale on this one with a high roughness and a lot of detail and so on. So I think I will go up to, I don't know, 300-400. So I don't know, something, yeah, I can put it something like 375. And now you can see we get it like more particles around here directly. So now when I take the linear light all the way to the Musgrave, we don't have just the Musgrave, we also have some of the noise in here. And if I take it all the way to the noise, we don't have just the noise, we have a small amount of Musgrave as well. So by using the linear light, we can then keep the pattern from the other, even if we drag this. So it's like, it's a better type of mix to put these together. So then I of course need to change the detail as well here, so we get this higher, and I can just drag it up, I don't know, something like that perhaps, and I will do the same with the roughness, so I take that up as well. And then I will play with the Musgrave here, so we get something on that as well. I don't have to change that so much, it could be that I take up the detail just a bit here, and I take down the dimension to make it more like this. I will then hide this by using the linear light, but we put it something like here, I think, and then it's about the linearity. We can take up that just a bit, so we have that as well. And then if I just drag this down, you can see it gets more and more soft here, because now I use more and more of the noise here. So I take it really low here, so we can feel that we use the Musgrave, but it's a rather dirty lamp, so to say. We have a lot of dirt all over the place, but it's still so we have that some spaces that have less of this dirt here. So if we put that like this, I think it looks rather good here. And then I also think that if you use a flame down here, and then it will be less and less dirt inside the glass when you go up here, because all the burning stuff will be down here. So to do that, we can use this little thing that we have inside here. So if I go to, let's see if I can find it, this one here, you can see what I mean now, because then that one is orange. So if we use that, and then use the length for that, exactly as we did when we felt where we should have the fuel. If we do this with this noise here as well, we can control how much noise we have at the bottom here and how much we have at the top here. So that would be good to use. Just remember the name here, because that is what we are going to use when we go back to the glass here. So now I select the glass again, and we use a new texture coordinate, so just copy this one, Shift D, but in this I will then add this object here, so we get that in. We can, since I'm not using object here, we don't need this, I can take it away again. We can use the object directly here and then take it from that would be better. So I go into the list here, and then I just go down a bit, and I get this here. So now when I use the object, it will then use this thing that we had in the middle here instead of using this as the center. And after that we need the vector math for length. So I press Shift A and then I go to converter and vector math. And here I can then add a length and take the object from this one into the length here, and then I will certainly need something to strengthen this, so I add a multiply here as well. So I press Shift A, converter math, and put in a multiply. So then we have it here, and take it up, I don't know, we can guess that it will be something like this, and that value should then be subtracted with this value, so we take it down. And when we do this subtract, we could clamp it. We can clamp it here, so we never get over 1, and then we take a subtract here. So I press Shift A, converter and math, put that in, and now it's really white. But if I now change this to subtract, then it's really black. And if I now control it with the length here, then if everything goes well, you can see now that we get more white at the bottom and more black at the top. And if we increase this, you can see now that now I take away all as much from the top, and we have some in the bottom here. So all the black means that nothing will be changed, and all the white means that we add some smudge into the glass. So perhaps we should have it around, I don't know, something like this. That was too much, I think. A bit less like that. That will be a good way to start anyway. So then we have like, what should I say, like a base smudge on the glass. Then I also would like to add something else. I would like to add those black rests of ashes of flame that we have on the side here. So I think we can add that as well. I don't know if we should take it. Yeah, we can take it now. So we can say that we have done like a base roughness here, a base thing for the smudge, and then we have that here. And now we need to add something for those flames that I'm thinking about, or the black stuff that comes after the flame here. So to do that, I think we can use a noise with a rather low value, I think. So if I press Shift A again, a converter, and put in a texture, and put in a noise here, and I think we use generated for that as well. So we get that in here, and then we can connect it with this here, so we can see what happens. So now we can forget about the other thing, and we can work only with the noise here and make that look good in the end. Now it's very soft and so on, but we can make it a little bit harder by adding a map range that filter out the stuff here. So I press Shift A, converter, and a map range. So put that in here, and what I have to do now is change these from min and from max to minimize the field a bit. So if I take up this a bit here, and I can take down this a bit here, then I start to get some black and some white like this. And then I can decrease the value that comes out from it. So so we only have a small amount of this, because I would like that to be just a smudge that is like a layer above the other one that we did earlier. So I don't know, something like this will be fine, I think. But what I also would like to do is make it go up like this, and not be grouped like what we have right now. And to make it go up, then we can use a mapping vector that we put in between here, and then control the scale, and by that move it up. So I press Shift A again, and I put in a mapping vector in here. And what I can do with that mapping vector is that I can change the z-axis, and when I change that, you can see now that this is like growing up in a way. So now we have something that looks rather good here, and then we can just fine-tune it with the scale here. So I don't know, we can put it up to around something like that perhaps. Take down the roughness just so we get, I don't know, something. Don't need distortion, I think that would be okay like this. So then we have that as well. So now we have two types of so we have this one with this linear light here. I think it's a little bit too much. We can take it so it's even softer, so something like that. Use 75. Yeah, you can play with it, but if you take it to 0, that will be no effect. So just a tiny amount here, and then it will be great, because then we get all the smudge here and almost nothing here. So that will be okay. So now we have two different types here, and I will use them in different ways. And to be able to use them, then I have to put in the glass here. So that we can do now. So I press Shift A, go to shader, and I will use a principal shader here and put that in. Can take that away right now, and we just do this into glass here. So that means that I move the transmission to 1, and I can put the roughness to 0. So now we have like a perfect glass, and it's up to us now and to destroy that. And to destroy that, we can use the clear coat here, or we can use the clear coat, but the clear coat. The reason I'm thinking about the clear coat is that the clear coat adds like an extra layer above this, which will be great when we will do like the smudge on top of the glass, so to say. So I think we can use this smudge on the clear coat as well. So we can just put that in here, but we should also use it on the transmission here on the clear coat roughness. So if I put that on the clear coat roughness, then we do some roughness on the clear coat, and it will only be like a tiny thing, so it's not so much. However, if we do it on the transmission roughness as well, then we do a much bigger change on the roughness. And I use these things to distort the glass a bit when it comes to the normal roughness. And then I will use the other mask that I did for the normal roughness here. So then I can take those into, see if we can get a bit closer here. Then I can take this into the normal roughness here to make all those flame here. And right now we can't see so much. It's cycles, it's all just particles. Yeah, it's just roughness, we can't see so much. But if we then add some color to this, it will be more easy to see here. So I will add some base color into it, and I will use those long lines that I did to color everything here with the roughness. And if we have a lot of roughness, then the colors will be more clear, and if we have less roughness, it will be harder to see the colors. So we put in a color ramp here, so press Shift A, converter and a color ramp, and put that in here and put that to the color here. And now you can see it's almost black here, so that should be rather pale, could be white for instance. And then we can take this close here and add some burning color, and now you can see the colors coming here really clear, and now we can also see the pattern that we tried to build. And now I will add a dark, it could be almost black, that is right after this one. So we do it like that, and then I just put that in here to do it like this, and then we have different coloring on everything here. And we can of course then play with it so we get it exactly as we want to. If it then should be like that, yeah, it could be something like this. This is okay. So then we have that in, and I think this is almost enough to get some smudge on the inside of the glass like this. So we can control everything now in a good way here. So I just move this down a bit so it's really separated from each other. And now I think we can also add the dust in. If you remember, I saved the dust. So we have the dust here, and we can put that into this one by using a mix shader here. So I press Shift A, and then I use a shader and a mix shader. So we have that in here, and then we get some value from the dust here to control how much dust we should use and how much we should use of the other one. Now it's really hard to see what this will be, so one thing we can do is take this value directly in here, and we can see that this is completely black now, but I think we can change it by changing the values here on the dust. So if we just take down this a lot, and like, yeah, it worked. It worked. It was very easy to change it. We can take it up just a bit, I think, so perhaps even more, just so we get some soft edges up here. So that would be okay. I don't know, should change, yeah, we can change this as well. So if it's almost 0, then we have it down here, and now we have it more spread, so it can be, I don't know, something like that perhaps. And then we have some type of strength here that we can play with, so no strength, and there we have a lot of strength. Okay, that's good, then we know that. So then we have all the stuff we need to control the dust out here. So then we can just connect that one with this one, and now you see it's black up here, and we can replace that with the dust. So we do a new one, Shift A, shader, that is principle. So I select the principle here, and the dust does not have any reflection, so we put the roughness up here, and then we can just leave it as it is and just put it in like that. And now we have all the dust here, and it's white, and I should have the dust color here. So I can take that from output. No, I cannot, because that is just the result color. But we can easily add the dust color just straight through this. It's just to select that one and press Tab, and then we can see, then we have, let's see, we have a dust color here, and we just drag that all the way from here to the output here, and then we get the dust color here. And we can also move it up, so we have colors by colors. So just use the arrow here. Now we have the result color and the dust color together, and that is okay. So then we can press Tab. So now if I put in the dust color, it will be that color that we use here. If I now connect the dust color, you can't see it perhaps, but it says dust color here, so select dust color into the base color here, and now you can see, now we get the dust color that we use here, and I think it should be like burned dust a bit, so something like that. Could also be that we should do some changes on this, so we can add some noise into this. Yeah, we can use Musgrave in this case, so Shift A, texture and a Musgrave. We can press Shift A and input texture coordinate, and I think we can use generated here, and then we use color ramp to change these colors here. So Shift A again, converter, and color ramp, put that in, move this a bit, put that to the height, put that to the dust color. So now we have something up here, and we can then take down the dimension, take up the detail, take up the linearity, and also the scale, I believe, so something like that. And to make it less black and white, we can add a multiply here, so Shift A, converter math, and we add a multiply, and then we just do like this, so we get it more grayscale in difference here, so not so much of a difference. And then we change the colors here to something that looks like dust, so perhaps something like that, and we can change this to perhaps something more, I don't know, something like that. You can play with it as you want. I think that could be a little bit brighter. We can take up this a bit so we can see more clear the differences. So if I move this, yes, now we see it more clear. So something like that, but you can play with that later on and do whatever you want with that. But now we have some dust into this as well. So I think we have all the things that we need now. The only thing that I would like to do now is to add something that are like a main controller for this glass, so we can easy control if it should be used with a lot of destroying factors or if it should be completely clean. And to do that, we could just add and multiply on these lines here to make it easy to control. So I press Shift A and converter and the math, and then I put that in and I put a multiplier on that one, and I do the same with the clear coat roughness. So Shift A, put that in, and I can do the same with the other one, I think. So we put that in as well. So now we have 1, 2, 3 here, and we can do it with this one. So we have that in, and finally with the dust as well for the value here. So I put one here as well. Shift A, converter, math, and multiplier here. So now we have a lot of multiplier, and you might wonder what should we do with all these. We just connect it to an input value, and then that could control everything. So I press Shift A, input and a value, and then it will become almost like a node group, but we don't do a node group here. And then I just drag this into each of these open endings on the multipliers. So I just fill the multipliers here with a value from this one, and I think we had someone up here as well, like that. And if I now try it out and put this to 0, then I see now that we have the base color left. Let's see here, so we don't, yes, this is the map range. Yes, we can do like this. This one is white, it's completely white, I think. Yes, so that we can add an additional multiplier here. So press Shift A and then converter and the math and the multiplier here as well. And now I connect that as well to this one. And now everything is clear. And if I now take this up, we get more and more dirt onto this one. So now we can control in an easy way how much of dirt we should use here or smudge into the glass. And then we of course have all the individual things here where we can tweak it even more, change where we would like to have the coloring for the yellow tone here and for the dust and so on. And it could be so that we would like to mix those as well and so on. But this is a good base here, because now we have one little place here where we do the main control for the glass here. So that's really good, because now it's easy to control it, so we get some smudge on that glass. And I will do some little, before I normally do, as you now know, I think it's number 20 or something on the sessions. I normally do like a render just to check everything out afterwards. And I think I can spread this a little bit more on the dust here, on the dirt here. So I do a little bit bigger dirt distribution on everything, so we get more here, and then I can play a bit with. I don't think we can take up that, just a bit. So we get it like that, and we can also change it on the dust just a bit here as well. I think that would be great to have it like that. So we have some rust in here if we now are going to disturb this, and then we can go to the main rust thing here somewhere. Here we have the rust controller, and then we can just take that down a bit to increase the amount of rust. Not too much, but perhaps something like this. So now it should be a really destroyed lantern, and now I can render, and then we can see the end result and see how it looks. So I just press F12, and then I pause everything and come back afterwards. Okay, so now the render is finished for the glass as well. And yes, we have now all these lines here, we have some smudge in and so on. And if I look at this, you can see that this is a bit strong here, so that we can easily take away by just changing the strength of the smudge, so it's no problem. And this is mostly just one color here, so there we can also tweak so we get some more random color in. But other than that, I think that our idea, or my idea I used here, worked rather good with the glass here, and we can use that. And then we can of course tweak all the other stuff as well. So what I will do now is that everything is on place, and the next session will then be the last session where we tweak everything. So we add mixing of some random colors on the things here. We change something on the roughness so it's not so equal all the time. We do the same with the rust here, and we control it better, and we go through all of the parameters and so on, so we didn't forget anything when we went through all these steps, because now we have gone through, as I mentioned, about 20 different sessions, and of course you miss one or two things. So now it will be like a tweak and cleaning session that we then take as our last session before we say that this lantern is finished. But I think we have managed rather good to get something that we can use later on. And the perfect thing with this is that now we have like a general or generic material that we can use for everything that is painted in this type here, like this lantern, or if you have like a hand grenade, or if you have like a heavy machine or something like that. It's basically the same thinking, and then we don't have to build everything from scratch, because now we have the logic around dust, and the logic around dirt, and the logic around where the rain is falling and so on. So all that stuff is already in, so we can just use these node groups over and over again and just connect them like a puzzle. And next time you will do this, it will go really quick to make a material like this, because then you already have everything. So that is why I've used this method instead of trying to find a lot of images on the internet. Of course you can add images into this as well to increase the realistic feeling even more. So you can add some pattern here that really is rust from a rust photograph, something that you put in as an image texture here. but that you can do as a last step to tweak the final touch, so to say. But all the other stuff, all the logic to make it look real, that you already have, almost procedural and some vertex paint and so on. Okay, I will stop talking now, and I see you in the next session, and I say bye for now.